Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make is a peanut cake. Now this isn't your traditional, like sponge cake, if you know what I mean, or just regular cake. I would say it's a cross between a cake and a bread, if you know what I mean by that. But it's quick, it's easy, it's fast, and it's great tasting. And those are the recipes that I like to do. I'm using my little cooktop here for the video. I'm just hoping it's warm enough there. But I'm going to start off by giving you the recipe because I no longer put the recipes below the video, so I'm sorry about that, but I'll explain. And I'll hopefully go through slow enough that if you want to jot down the recipe, you're able to do that, okay? So first up, we want to talk about the dry ingredients. You're going to need 3 cups of self-rising flour. Now I know I'm going to get questions, well, you know, can I use all-purpose? Yes, you can, but you have to make an adjustment when you use all-purpose. And below the video I will give you those adjustments that you can make, but I would urge you to use the self-rising because sometimes moisture presents a problem when you substitute your all-purpose flour, because you do have to put additional baking powder and salt in it, and it generally, I think, makes the cake a little bit, when you use all-purpose, a bit drier or dense. So I like to use the self-rising, and that's how the results I get out of the self-rising. So I know I'll get that question. But anyway, let's go back. We need 3 cups of self-rising flour. That's your best bet, okay? And you're going to put about a half a teaspoon of cinnamon in that. Now I went ahead and I did sift this flour, okay? Oh, it's definitely hot. So I'm just going to put that on the side, okay? And I'll just kind of spin that cinnamon in there. Also, make a well in, like a hole inside that flour, okay? I made a well. All right, the next thing, let's move along. What we want to do is we want to put 3 tablespoons of maple syrup in, okay? We're also going to put in a half a cup of brown sugar and give that a good stir. We want to melt everything basically. And we're also going to be putting in a third of a cup of butter, a third of a cup, and you'll just want to melt this all together, okay? So that was a half a cup of brown sugar and a third cup of butter. Now if you want to use the margarine instead of the butter, feel free. It'll still come out very good. And you don't want to boil this at all. You just want to melt it. Now I did cut the butter up into small pieces because I think it's a little bit faster that way. And just stay with this and keep stirring it till it's melted. Again, don't boil it. You don't want to boil this at all, okay? And I'm going to be done in about 2 seconds here, and then I'm going to put this on the one that's off, just to let it sit. So I'm going to turn down the heat. Okay, and now it's nicely melted. I think you can see that. Okay, so we'll just set that aside on the cool one. All right, Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to be putting in milk. And what's kind of nice about it is that even though the milk has been at room temperature, it's going to cool that down right away. And you need 3 tablespoons of milk. And just go ahead and put that right in there. And that does cool down that mixture pretty fast, okay? The next thing, of course, you're going to need peanut butter. Now, if you want to use crunchy, go ahead, whatever brand that you want. I like to use the creamy, 1/3 of a cup of the creamy peanut butter. And then I actually melt it in a microwave safe bowl, and I melt it that way, okay? And then you're also going to need 3 eggs that you will need to slightly beat them ahead of time. So 3 eggs at room temperature that you go ahead and beat. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to, as I talked about, there's a hole inside of this. And once you do that, you're going to take this mixture and you're going to pour it right into that well. Just like that, okay? And I just realized I didn't pull out my hand mixer. So I have to walk away for a second here. I am so used to using my stand-up for my videos that I forgot. So sorry about that. But anyway, let's get that plugged in and get the beaters in. Now you can make this in your stand-up. You don't have to use your hand mixer as I am. Okay. Having a little adjustment here with this hand mixer here. That's why it's nice to have it ready. Okay, now I put everything into the well as you saw, and what next I'm going to do is I'm going to put that melted 1/3 of a cup of peanut butter, and I'm going to put it right on top, just like that. And then I'm going to take those 3 eggs that were slightly beaten, okay? And then I'm just going to bring it all together. I'm going to just start off kind of slow. And just bring it all together. Okay. Now I'm going to add some additional milk just to thin it down a little bit. And we'll probably just eyeball it, about 1/4 of a cup. Less than 1/4 of a cup. Okay. Now you can see why I generally use my hand mixer. Okay. All right. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the rest by hand. Okay, sorry about that. All right, let's get that out of the way. And I'm just going to pull this all together. And sometimes you do have to add that little bit of extra milk for it. Okay. There we go. Now it's coming together. Okay. All right, the next thing is, now you can make 2 9x5 loaves, like a pound. I believe it's about a pound, the 9x5 pans. This is a lot bigger. This is 16 by 4, and you know, it makes one nice large one instead of doing the two different, you know, the two different ones, the two separate pans. Okay. So I'm just gonna plop that down in there and even it out. And just kind of smooth that out in there. Now, when it bakes up, it will have a little bit of an uneven top to it. It won't be, you know, completely smooth. But that's not going to affect the taste or anything like that. So just, and like I said, if you make it and you don't need that additional milk, you know, that 1 or 2 tablespoons extra, just, you know, stay with the 3 tablespoons. Just kind of be a judge to see how it goes. Okay? And then all I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab a knife here. And then I'm just going to spread it out in the pan like this. Now, it isn't going to rise really tall. I got to warn you about that too. And like I said, I tend to use the larger pan because then it, you know, it's easier than bothering with 2 pans. And I'm gonna set this aside for the moment. Now, you're gonna bake that in the oven at 325, and it could take you anywhere from 40 to 50 minutes to bake up once you put it in the oven. And heavily grease your pan, unless you want to use you know, your parchment paper or whatever. You know, put that down, but I just went ahead and heavily greased it with some solid shortening. Okay, that'll be up to you. At 325, once again, it bears repeating, for 40 to 50 minutes. I start checking mine early. I actually start checking mine about, oh gosh, around 37 minutes or so. Check it with a cake tester or a toothpick and see, you know, how, if it comes out dry when you pull that cake tester or toothpick out, because you don't want to overbake them. You don't want this peanut cake to be real dry. You want it to have moisture to it, okay? So I'm going to quickly rinse my hands because I was working with raw eggs, because I'd like to show you what it looks like once it's baked up. And again, it's a lot easier to make this in your stand-up mixer. You saw that I had a little bit of difficulty with the hand mixer. I'm just going to stay with my stand mixer from now on. But anyway, this is how it bakes up, and you can slice it however thick or thin that you want it. It will come out and have a nice golden brown. Let me show it that way. Nice golden brown on the bottom. It will have a hard surface on the top and the bottom of the cake. Okay, the top and the bottom. As I said, it won't have a real even top. I don't know if you can see that or not. Okay, but I think that actually adds to it. I think it looks kind of pretty. And then with a fork, I'm just going to show you what the crumb is like when you break it away with your fork. Now, this isn't a real dry cake, but it's not real light either. It's not like a regular, birthday cake that you make or that type of thing. So it has it has some density to it. When you bite into it, though, it does have a bit of a chew to it and a moisture to it. But I would say it's medium density. It's not going to be, pillow soft in the center or that kind of thing. Yet when I press on it, you can see, though, it is a somewhat medium crumb that breaks from it, okay? So I just don't want you to, expect it to be, a real soft crumb, because don't forget this, it has peanut butter in it, so it gives it its density. But I mean, it's not hard as a rock or anything like that. It is great with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. If you want to drizzle a white glaze over it to make it a little sweeter, with powdered sugar and milk or powdered sugar and water, feel free to do that. I actually have cut it thinner and put it in the toaster, and it's absolutely delicious in the toaster as well. So you can, make it however that you like, but if you like peanut butter and you like cake, I think you're going to like this recipe. I really do. Sorry I no longer put those ingredients below my video, because I'm not alone on this, but it's real frustrating to see your work posted, pinned, taken, claimed as others. And I always tell people, if you try this recipe and you like it, we'll leave a comment, because I'd like to hear from you. And what prompted me to stop doing it is that people were writing to me or asking a question, and I can't answer them because they're not on YouTube, because it's the only place I put my videos, on YouTube. So if you write to me or comment on it or have a question, I'm going to answer in a timely fashion. But please watch me solely on YouTube. That's the only place that again, like I said, I put my videos on. So if you're so inclined and you'd like to subscribe to the channel, boy, I'd appreciate that. Or give the video a like. That would be fantastic. So I want to thank you again for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.